How do I start?
Like, hi everyone.
Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Minute Women podcast. My name is Grace.
And I say I'm Linnea.
And I'm Linnea. And I'm Linnea.
I literally was
Every
like,
time.
what do I say?
I smell burnt toast.
Doctor, I smell burnt toast. I dragged my ass out of bed for this picture. On Mondays, it's gonna be Margarita Mondays. Nationwide. And feel that reciprocated enjoyment. Oh my god! It's like we're friends or something.
Hello, everybody at HopYard.
Hello. That's you guys.
That's you. Welcome to the Minute Women podcast live.
My name is Grace.
And I'm Linnea.
And we appreciate everybody who came out to the show, and to everyone who just came for taco night. Prepare to be bombarded with a live comedy podcast for the next 45 minutes.
You can thank us later.
You can thank us later. Briefly, if you don't know what our show is, we do Canadian history in a funny way. So we take the Canadian Heritage Minutes, those 60-second iconic ads that would air ad nauseum on the CBC. That you just love. And we try and tell the bigger stories behind them. But sometimes we say, screw the format, let's just talk about something funny that happened in Canadian history.
Is that what we're doing today?
That is absolutely what we're going to do today.
Absolutely. Also, I just want to let everyone know that we do swear. So be prepared for that as well.
Cursing, apologies to moms.
Yeah, if there's any
around
moms,
the world.
dads here, sorry.
We're not a good influence on anyone. So, Linnea.
Yes.
As we've discussed
Can
ad
you guys
nauseam.
hear us? Can you guys, are we like good? Yeah, okay, super.
Love that.
Love that.
Because I think we sound great.
I think we sound great. We always sound great.
The prairies are a funny place.
The prairies are a funny place.
A lot of weird stuff happens in the prairies.
Sod houses,
This
cows
one's for you,
through roofs.
Spencer. So it's especially funny place during the mid-1800s when there's a lot of questions about what the prairies are going to become. It's not part of Canada. Canada doesn't really exist yet. It's not part of the U.S. It's currently owned by the Hudson's Bay Company.
It's just hanging out there, landlocked and alone.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different paths that the prairies could go down. But one man, he looked at all of these paths and he was like, what if we did something even stupider?
What?
This is the story of the man who set out to create the Free Republic of Manitoba, spelled with an H,
Like
with an H,
Manitoba.
with an H at the
Okay,
end.
okay.
It's important.
Yeah.
And the cobbler that ruined his dreams. So,
Okay, I'm ready.
Thomas Spence was born in Edinburgh, Scotland, as all great Canadians are, on the
true.
3rd of June, 1832.
Let me guess, he's dead now.
Yes,
Yes.
Everyone we talk about is dead.
Everyone we talk about is dead.
Apologies to the descendants. So his father was a solicitor, so middle class background,
Okay.
decent money, decent income.
Yeah.
And we don't really know a lot about him other
Okay.
than Scottish and rich.
Good.
But he also appears to have been a very confident person, which is typical for rich Scottish youth.
I was gonna say rich Scottish white men. This is all sounding right to me.
It's all coming together. Because at the age of 19, he said, goodbye, Scotland, I'm coming to Canada.
Okay.
I'm packing my bags, I'm sailing across the Atlantic.
Okay.
Who knows what fortune lies before me?
Adventure awaits. Absolutely.
So he arrives in the Canadas
Okay.
in 1852, so like Quebec, Ontario.
Sure.
Now, it seems he may have been a British officer because we know that he was with a party of engineers that set out to erect forts at Port Levy, Quebec.
Okay.
That said, he's not mentioned in any lists for military officers, so we can't be sure. He might have just been a really good bullshitter.
Right.
That is going to be a common theme of Thomas Spence's story.
Perfect.
Foreshadowing.
Okay.
He may have been engaged on this project as a land surveyor, we don't know. But Thomas first appears in our historical documentation between the dates of 1856 and 1857 when he was on a trip home visiting Scotland.
Oh, so he came to Canada and now he's leaving Canada to go back.
He's visiting. Now you've
Okay.
been away, imagine,
Imagine.
you're a young Scottish lad.
Yeah.
Not much of a stretch
Okay.
for you. He has been away from home. You've been away from home for 4 years.
Okay.
What's the first thing you're going to do when you get back?
I'm gonna get some haggis.
The correct answer is you're going to start a newspaper for a very short period of time.
Okay. Not what I was expecting.
And it is called the Scottish Canadian Emigration Advocate.
Amazing. Okay.
So he's just like, I've gone out, I've had this amazing experience in Canada.
I'm gonna write about it.
It's like starting a travel blog, but you go home and you have to like actually hand it out to everybody.
He's the original Instagram influencer.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Dad had enough money to get you access to a printing press.
And now you're doing
And
it.
so now you're just sending it out to everyone.
Okay.
Now, the paper, despite its lack of success, is noticed by officials in Ottawa. They're like, hey, this guy, Thomas Spence, he's like out there in Scotland spreading the good word
So they don't
of
hate
Canada. No, they're like,
Yeah.
they're down. They're
Okay,
like,
so
sick.
he's saying good things apparently.
Enough,
This is good.
Enough that Ottawa's like, thank God.
Yeah, thank-
anyone. I think it speaks more to the desperation of Ottawa.
Sure.
Being like,
Sure.
we'll literally take anyone promoting this country.
Who thinks this is
Anyone.
a good place to live? Okay.
And they regard it so highly that in February of 1858, the Ottawa City Council recommended that he be made a director of a government agency in Europe.
I thought you were gonna be like, they decided to make him mayor.
The highest,
The highest honor.
Just
You get to be the
mayor.
mayor of Ottawa. You've made it.
Not quite.
Okay.
So I assume it'd have to do with immigration, because that's what his paper has to do. But
Sure.
who knows? Unfortunately, the formal offer did not come for another 8 years.
Oof.
How does that happen?
I
They're
don't
like,
know.
this thing, it's great, and it just sits on a desk in Ottawa for 8 years.
So was he like holding that title and just didn't have it officially, or did they just?
No, he wasn't holding any titles. They
Okay.
were just like, that guy would be great for this job. Anyways, let's forget about that for
Yeah,
8 years
okay.
and move on.
Perfect.
We have other business
That
to attend
sounds
to.
like the Canadian government. Okay.
Which is too late for Spence, unfortunately, because
Oh.
in this span of time,
Yeah.
this 8 years, Spence got married,
Okay.
started a family, and decided that he was destined for Red River, Manitoba.
Okay.
So Red River settlement, we're off to the prairies.
He's ready to go.
He and his family arrived in Upper Fort Garry, which is today Winnipeg, on the 1st of November, 1866, after, quote, a very rough journey. That very rough journey included his 9-month pregnant wife, Charlotte, who gave birth the next day when they arrived
man.
in Fort Garry.
Maybe she is what the Midwife Heritage Minute is about.
Potentially.
Maybe that's her.
Yeah, just crying in
Just
the rain.
crying. We love that minute. Just a lot of yelling.
So, when Thomas arrived at the Red River settlement, he first worked as a handyman, but he's quick to inform the townspeople that he had been a military
He's
officer in
better
the
than
foot regiment.
that. He's better than
He-
that.
He's better than this profession.
He's above that lowly profession.
He tells them that he's been a land surveyor. He also tells them that he has been a practitioner of the legal profession,
Lies.
which is a vague title. Also, there's no evidence to suggest that he's done any of this.
He's a liar.
Potentially.
Yeah, okay.
Potentially.
Maybe.
No one quite knew if Spence had been telling the truth or inventing a new persona for himself in this new unsettled area, but his political ambitions were high, and he sought to represent his views and plans as the opinions of others who had been in the settlement for years.
Okay.
So he's just going around to all of the important people and being like, yeah, you know what Tim told me up the street? Yeah, he's saying that we really need to fix that road. That's Tim's opinion, not mine.
Not mine. That's yeah.
These
okay.
are the opinions of the acquainted people in
Yeah,
the
I'm
settlement.
just a guy, not even from here. I
Yes.
have no business giving you my thoughts.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, the first time that we really get to know Thomas Spence is, and it's kind of his first foray into controversy,
Okay.
is on December 8th, 1866, when Spence organized a meeting in Fort Garry's courthouse to secure support for the transference of the settlement into the British North America Act, the BNA
Okay.
Act, everyone's favorite piece of Canadian
Yeah,
legislation.
so he seems to have some intelligence though. He's got knowledge of these things.
Yeah, he's definitely. I think he has too much knowledge for his own good.
Okay.
He knows just enough to kind of weasel his way into circles where
Right.
he can cause trouble
Yeah, and spell Manitoba with an H eventually.
and spell Manitoba with an H
Apparently.
eventually.
Okay.
So British North America Act is kind of the cornerstone of Confederation, and so if you wanted to join Canada, this is 1866. Confederation is the next year. For those people who don't know, 1867. you would basically like sign on. It's like
Yeah.
an agreement. It's like, oh, cool, we're gonna like join up with these other
Yeah.
colonies, and we're gonna form this new Dominion of Canada.
Join the club. That's what they wanted. They wanted everybody to join the club.
Yeah, they're just like, come on, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be so
times.
fun.
So much fun.
So much.
We have documents that sit on desks for 8 years. What wouldn't you want
What
from
part of
all of
this
this?
isn't
What
good
part
for
of
you?
this isn't good enough for you?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The problem is that at the time, Fort Garry and all of the surrounding areas are part of Rupert's Land, which is actually just
I remember
private
that
property.
from grade 9
Good
social
job.
studies. That's what I remember.
That's
yeah,
what I
thank
got.
you.
I got that
I
one.
got that. I knew that was on a test somewhere.
I think we need a bell for like.
When
I
I
know
know
that
something.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
E&A Act is a good one.
Yeah.
Rupert's Land.
For those of you who don't regularly listen to our podcast, first, I don't know what you're doing. But secondly, the premise is that Grace is educating me on history. So I had no idea what I was getting into coming to HopYard today. I just came for the beer and the tacos like many of you. And this is just an extra bonus.
She didn't even know there was going to be a show today.
It's all
I
a
just kind of
surprise.
drag her around.
It's all a
I
surprise.
send you like threatening notes, and I'm like, meet me
Yeah.
at HopYard,
In, like,
7 p.m.
Yeah, and like cutout magazine pieces. Anyway, Rupert's Land, yes, go.
Rupert's Land and just the magazine clippings.
Yeah.
It's just like, what does it mean? I remember that one.
Okay.
But Rupert's Land, it's private property, so people are living there, but they're basically just living.
Squatters.
Well, no, just like
Oh.
under squatters.
Okay.
They're just living
There's a
under
housing
the rule.
crisis here, Grace.
It'll be us soon.
Yeah.
But they just live under the rule of the Hudson's Bay Company. So the Hudson's Bay Company
Okay.
is like the only form of like police or law
Right.
for the most
So
part.
they're
You have a few
trading-
councils,
yeah.
like the Council of the Assiniboine, which we'll get into a little bit, but that's about
They're
it.
trading furs and wearing those nice Hudson Bay jackets with the pretty colors on the bottom.
Yeah, and they're not doing anything problematic at all.
At all. I'm
It's
sure they're doing
just
great.
great. So this land represents about a third of what is Canada today.
Okay.
And
That's a lot.
yeah, it won't join Confederation for a while until Canada literally just buys it.
Okay.
They eventually are like, whatever.
So Canada, so Canada that joins Confederation then buys that eventually.
Yes, in a couple of years after Confederation. But that's not soon enough for Spence.
Of course not.
Spence is like, we need to get government now, because what you come to learn about Thomas Spence is he loves government more than anything in the world. He'll do
Okay.
anything to get government happening.
Yeah. He loves it.
And so at the courthouse meeting that he had called, he'd been like, all right, we're all meeting at the courthouse.
And people came.
So he sets the meeting. The meeting was set for 10:30 in the morning, but Spence had told a select number of people, like, no, you gotta go early. You gotta go early. So he gets like a group that's, I guess, enough for quorum,
Okay.
and then he just votes on it.
Whoa!
So half of the people aren't there, and
Okay.
he's just like, great, now we're part of Canada. According to the documents, it says that they celebrated this with 3 mighty cheers to Her Most Glorious Majesty the Queen. So very illegal, but let's celebrate.
Very
you
legal.
know?
That's weird. Okay.
We're ready to go.
We're ready. We're part of Canada now.
So the gang, they're on their high horse. They're like
Yeah.
stepping out into the streets of Fort Garry in 1866.
Singing
so I
God
can
Save-
only imagine beautiful.
I was gonna say they're singing "God Save the Queen" and running around,
Yeah.
popping champagne. I'm sure.
It is before 10:30 in the morning,
Yes, exactly.
which is important.
My favorite time for champagne.
So they leave the courthouse celebrating, but when they're out in the street, because it's Fort Garry and it's this tiny town, they run into, quote, Dutch George. That's his nickname.
Okay. Why?
Might have been Dutch, who knows?
Okay.
Dutch George Emmerling, who was the owner of the hotel. I
Okay.
can't imagine that there'd be many other hotels in Fort
It's
Garry
just one
during this
hotel.
period of time.
The hotel.
Emmerling was an advocate for annexation into the
Ooh.
of the settlement into the United States.
Oh,
So he's just like,
they don't get along.
he
Those
was.
are opposing views.
There's a reason he wasn't there at 9:30 in the morning. He was a 10:30 gang.
He was a 10:30.
He was a
guy.
10:30 crowd. And so when he realizes what the group had done, he rallies the town and recalls everybody back to the courthouse. He's like, no. This is not how this goes down.
This is not government.
So at the instigation of Emmerling, they get everybody back.Ey're like, this resolution is null and void. What you did was illegal.
It was bad.
It was bad. And they declared it void. So now we're back to neutral. Fort Garry is just part of Rupert's Land. It's not being annexed.
And Spence is probably real sad.
Well, yeah, Spence and his gang do not handle this well.
Okay. So he's got followers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You'll notice that he always has, like,
Groupies.
toadies,
Yeah,
basically.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
groupies.
Yeah.
He, like, convinces a couple of guys to always, like, be on his side.
Like these guys over here.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
So a heated argument breaks out.
Okay.
And among those attending and any proposed motions, you know, they're quickly shut down. So, like, we're having this courthouse meeting. You
Right.
bring up anything, we're just going to shut it down.
Okay.
Like, they're literally just having a tantrum in the corner. They're like,
Okay.
no. No, absolutely not.
This isn't what I want.
This isn't exactly what I had designed to happen.
I'm sad.
Yeah.
Okay. They're cradling their bottles of champagne.
So as one account of the event states, quote, after some time, the entire crowd sought a hasty and uproarious exit from the doors. Some imagined with a view of continuing hostilities on a more extended scale outside.
Ooh.
So they're taking it out back.
So this is like, so I went to my first arena dance in Barrington when I was living in Shelburne.
Go
And
on.
I'd never been-
Everyone, you know, a formidable moment in every young girl's life.
I
When
went
they go to
there,
their first arena
you know,
dance.
to work a soul-sucking government job, and it was fine. But I also got like grouped in with the locals, and I went to this arena dance. And at this arena dance, I mean, I'm from Lunenburg. It's pretty like up and up there. But anyway, at this arena dance, a fight breaks out.
Oh, good.
And I've been at places where fights break out, and then the fight gets stopped. But here, a man comes to the fight and says, whoa, boys, and he says, okay, let's take it outside. And then everybody in the arena leaves and goes outside to watch this fight then take place. And then there's like other fights happening. Like it's just like anybody, I could have been in a fight that night. It's like when there's so many people fighting on a hockey team that the goalies fight. Just like,
Why
fuck
not?
it, let's do it. Yeah, so wild times. So that's what I'm picturing. They were just like, let's take it outside and let's continue.
Our arena, I'm not familiar with arena dances.
Oh, okay.
Are they like high school kids or are they adults?
No, it's like drinking. So like you have to be
Okay.
over 19. Yeah. Well, I mean, you should be over 19.
My high school had to stop dances because people were literally having sex
Oh,
on the
yeah.
dance floor.
Yeah,
And they were like, no.
Yeah.
And
Our-
so then one company decided to market that and they sold like 16 and up dances.
That's crazy.
It was bad. It was really
That's
gross.
crazy.
Anyways,
Slightly
Slightly
different. Yeah.
slightly different than what's happening in this
Okay,
story.
tell me
right
what's
now,
happening
but
here.
I like that excursion.
With Spence. What's going on with Spence?
So they're taking it out back. They're
Yeah.
like, this just, you know, there's not enough room in this courthouse to contain how much anger,
How much ego and testosterone?
all of the hostilities. But the cooling influences of the December wind led them to seek shelter at Mr. Emmerling. So they're like,
December?
they go out to fight and they're like, fuck, it's cold.
They're like, God damn it, Winnipeg.
What if we just go inside?
Yeah. You want some hot cocoa? I want some hot cocoa.
So they go to Mr. Emmerling's hotel where an orgy was insituated.
Where a what?
I don't think orgy means the same thing in 1866 as it means now.
Okay, cool.
I think it just means a group.
Okay.
But
Just hanging out.
We can pretend.
We can pretend.
We can be bad historians.
They're now having an orgy.
Where an orgy
This is
was
really, this is really not safe for work. This
No,
is
no,
not
no,
safe
no,
for
no,
the
no.
kids. Okay.
Which ended about midnight in the demolition of his bar and general destruction of his bottles and earthenware. Not to speak of the damage done to his fluids, which means liquor.
That's literally an episode of Peaky Blinders. I swear, that happened in like 4 episodes.
It's the most accurate
Yeah.
historical television
Yeah,
show. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, so basically Emmerling's gets his because they go back to his place and they just destroy the place.
They just wreck it.
Yeah. So soon after all this fallout at Fort Garry, Spence is like, you know what? I think I gotta pull up stakes. Like, he's got a bad rap
He's
in
leaving.
town. He's leaving. And
Wow, quitter.
once you're out there, there's only one way to go, and that's further west.
Yeah, sure
So
is.
we're at Portage La Prairie in
Oh, God.
1867.
Okay.
When he goes there, he opens up a store, as you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know what he's selling, but a
Newspaper.
storefront. A single sheet newspaper. Yeah, Portage La Prairie Press.
Exactly.
I just imagine that they don't have enough paper, so it's also like you share it around.
Yeah,
you know?
everybody
like,
writes their bit.
There's one piece of newspaper that's like chained to the desk, so you can't take it too far.
Like
you
at the
can't
bank,
steal
the
it.
pens
Yeah,
that are
exactly.
attached,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So back in 1851, a guy by the name of William Cochrane, John McLean, and a few other ambitious settlers were among the first to acquire permanent land in the area from local indigenous peoples. And
I bet that wasn't cool.
you never know.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was fine.
I'm sure everyone was super happy with that deal.
Everyone was treated fairly and equally in Canadian history, and that's all you need to know.
Absolutely.
So they built a school for the settlers that began pouring in from the east to this little community, and it kind of started to grow. So soon there was a church. There's numerous local businesses.
Once there's a church, let me tell you, in 1867, you got a church, you got a community.
That's
Like,
honestly,
yeah.
it's like we need one big building.
Yeah.
Can we have one,
Just
please?
one.
Anything?
Yeah.
A big building.
Just a big building. Yeah.
So, you know, the main reason that the town grows up is because it's such like a fertile soils in the area. It really builds this big economy for the village.
That's good.
The only problem is that, well, not a problem for most people. The problem for Spence
Okay.
is that Portage La Prairie is outside the jurisdiction of the government and the Council of the Assiniboine. So the Council of the Assiniboine is this like big administrative body that exists between 1821 and 1870. And so they're like outside of the Hudson's Bay Company. They're the only thing close to like a legal system,
Okay.
a police force, a militia in this vast wilderness.
Like, how do you spell that?
Assiniboine?
Yeah.
I don't think people need a spelling
All right.
test,
I'll
but
look it up later. I'll Google it.
you can look it up later. So that would be funny if we started doing a spelling bee though.
That
in the
would be
middle of
so
it.
fun.
It's like Assiniboine.
Linnea. Oh my god, you get me to spell the word.
Assiniboine. A
S.
S S.
And then you ring the bell if I get it wrong, and then I cry like the kids. Actually, I love watching the spelling bee. It's pure entertainment.
Do you like it because they do well, or do you like it because they do poorly?
I like it when I like it when you can tell the kids who suck and who who
How
like,
did they get on the televised
no.
one,
Like
Ben?
they're good at spelling, but they just suck as a human being. And so like you don't want them to do well. I always root for the underdog.
It's like all I've trained for
Yeah.
is this spelling
But
bee.
then like 5 years ago, 8 kids won, and then I was like, what is this purple ribbon society we live in?
Do they just need to get to like the limit?
Well, it's
Like,
just
does
they
the
ran out
last
of words. So like
They ran out of
Scripps
words.
National Spelling Bee ran out of words. Like
They should
to
circle
give
back.
them,
Go to
right?
easy words
Go to
at
easy
the end.
Cat.
Cat. Yeah. It's like, oh, you think you're so smart? We're running through the whole list all over again.
Just the dictionary.
So basically, Spence and his family, they're now in this community that's only 400 people, and there are no courts, there's no police, no taxation, no government, no laws, except for the ones that people chose to observe, which are my favorite kind of laws.
Absolutely.
It's like, yeah, you know, I won't kill you, maybe,
Only on Tuesdays.
on Wednesdays, yeah.
Just one day a week. Just one day a week for that.
But, like, these are detractions in the eyes of Spence. If anything, he sees a blank canvas for him to government all
Of
over.
course.
He's so excited.
He's like, this is my moment.
So as soon as Thomas arrived, he began once again trying to have his new home included in the BNA Act. He's like going around, he's like, hey, I heard Terry down the street really wants us to join the BNA Act. I don't know. You know Terry.
I don't know Terry, but you do.
And on the 31st of May, at a meeting in Spence's store, resolutions were passed emphasizing the urgency of incorporating the settlement into the new confederation.
What is he selling?
I don't know, but
Dreams.
It's
He's selling dreams.
It's
His
like,
own.
It's
His
like
own dreams.
it's like those Tupperware parties,
Yeah.
where you like invite people over and suddenly you're at a pyramid scheme.
Oh my god, yes.
It's that, but confederation. He's like, yeah, come
Yeah.
over. Saturday morning, we're gonna,
Yeah.
we're gonna eat ham and other salted things.
Of course.
And then we're gonna have some beer, and we might talk about confederation.
It's like these Arbonne ladies. Like one of them is gonna get me someday. They're so sneaky. They like come in at you. They're like, "Do you want to feel good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to feel good."
Of course
and
they
then
do.
it's like you need to spend $399 to feel really good, like me.
I guess feeling good isn't a luxury I can afford.
I guess I'll never
Avon.
know. Mary Kay.
That's a subject we should do on a podcast.
Mary Kay.
Mary Kay.
Absolutely.
Avon
Yeah.
ladies.
Yeah. There's a Barbie.
An Avon Barbie.
There's no Mary
Or
Kay
Mary
Barbie.
Kay Barbie.
Mary Kay Barbie.
Is she?
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's like a girl who's going door to door to do sales. It's one of
That's
Barbie's like
hilarious.
7 billion careers.
True.
Yeah.
True. I do like the amount
Yeah.
of jobs that she has. She's so progressive.
I was gonna say she's almost just like me, almost the same amount of jobs.
Almost. She's catching up.
She's getting close.
So, at this party, this Tupperware party, Thomas, he writes a letter, which he then gets everyone to sign, and he sends to Queen Victoria,
Oh, nice.
as you do.
That was like his icebreaker game.
Yeah.
At the start of the party.
Hey.
Wanna sign a letter?
And so he's asking for recognition, which aren't we all, law, and protection. And no reply was received.
Of course not.
So,
Victoria does not have the time.
complete cold shoulder for Queen Victoria.
Yeah.
So, with no one out there acknowledging Thomas's need for government, he decided to just take matters into his own hands. And so Spence decided that he needed to establish a new republic over which he would rule as president.
Okay.
So he's just like, I don't care what anybody else thinks.
I'ma do it.
We're setting up the Republic of Manitoba.
Yeah.
Which he does in January of 1868 with some of the settlers, all under Spence's direction.
Okay.
And so the actual name, the original name, I should say, is the Republican Monarchy of Caledonia.
Okay.
And a guy named Finley Ray was his secretary.
Okay.
Caledonia must have been super unpopular because Spence shortly changes it to Republican Monarchy of Manitoba with an H.
So was he the first person to call it Manitoba though?
Yes.
Okay,
this
that's cool. That's
is-
good for him.
This is the first time the Cree word Manitoba, which previously referred to the narrows of Lake Manitoba, was actually used to describe land
So
that
he
was being governed.
semi-progressive, you could say.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
throw him a bone there.
A
He's
little.
an innovator at the very least.
Yeah.
He's like, what if we take this great word and use it to refer to land, not water?
With an H. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
So, the Republic of Manitoba now just exists. It's not really, there's no piece of paper that says, the Republic of Manitoba exists. It just
Sure.
started existing.
And people started calling it that.
At least from Spence's perspective.
Okay.
I think he sees this as a big ribbon cutting moment, and everybody else is like, who?
Who?
What? There's only 400 people in this community, which
Manitoba
hardly
what?
represents
Yeah.
most people.
Yeah.
So the Republic of Manitoba, it includes 100 square miles extending indefinitely into the parallels of latitude and longitude. The only defined boundary was its eastern one, which consisted of the western limit of the municipal district of the Assiniboine. But outside of that, it's just everything. Which, again, no one agreed to except for Thomas and a couple of guys in a room.
And he's married, right?
He is married.
Somebody
We don't
got
hear
married.
about her very much. I don't
Okay.
think he's very interested in what's going on in Charlotte's life.
That's not shocking. From what you told me, I'm not surprised.
He's like, Thomas, just come home. Please come to bed. He's like, no, I've got to figure it out.
I've got to rule everything.
You don't understand. My made-up government is getting very serious. You're gonna want to get in the ground floor of this made-up
Yeah.
government. It's gonna take off.
Babe, you gotta support this, okay? She was in the 9:30 crowd. Yeah.
She was at the 9:30. No, she was invited to the 9:30 crowd and didn't go.
She did not
She was
go.
like, I'm not. No.
She's like, I'm
Absolutely
tired.
not.
Yeah. Okay. Aren't we all tired?
I hope not. We're in the middle of a show. You gotta keep going.
I'm not tired. Just like in general. You know?
Of everything.
Yeah, just of everything. Tired of the bullshit, you know?
So Spence then had a council just chosen. So none of this is democratically elected. This is a very...
him?
Oh yeah, this is a very loose definition of a republic, which implies you're voting for something.
Yeah.
But not a lot of that going on.
Sounds like how our softball team was picked.
It has to be a hierarchy.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
Yeah.
So he has this council chosen. Each member takes an oath of an allegiance
Spence.
to the republic and to Spence.
Okay.
Also like our softball team.
We pledge allegiance to Eric. Coach
Eric. After the oaths, the first order of business was to build a courthouse and a jail.
I thought you were gonna say a gym, and I was like, man, this guy is progressive. Healthy bodies for everyone, you know? Like, yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, the first thing a government does is they just, put a
Yeah, you need a
monopoly
jail.
on violence.
Yeah.
So, jail and courthouse.
Yeah.
Jail, also spelled the right way, which is G-A-O-L. My preferred spelling of jail.
Oh, this poor guy was dyslexic.
No, that's literally how everyone spelled it back then.
J-A-O-L?
Yes, that is the
Jail.
original English spelling of jail.
Like we're Forrest Gump saying jail.
Jail.
Oh my god, you have such a good Forrest Gump impression.
That's not a compliment.
I had no idea.
That's the meanest thing you've ever said to me.
I had no idea.
Jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, only on that word though.
Okay.
But such noble establishments of government present, you need money, you need stuff, money to build it. And so Spence and his cronies hit upon the idea of what if we tax people?
Yes.
They're gonna love that. Weird thing, people out in the woods don't really love to be taxed.
They don't really love.
The reason they're out in
Yeah.
the woods is probably because they don't love government as much as our boy Thomas Spence does.
Yeah, he's like, I don't get it, guys. This is the best ever.
Don't you guys love it? No! Who let you do this?
He's like,
Oh,
anyway.
So, according to the account of Robert Hill, quote, a notice was sent to all traders, amongst them the officers in charge of the Hudson's Bay Trading Post in Portage, who received who replied that he would be paying no taxes or duties on the goods imported for the trade post, unless ordered to do so by the government of Rupert's Land.
And they're not talking to him.
Yeah, so Thomas is like, great, get everyone on the mailing list and send them out. We're going to tell them that good news.
CC everyone.
You will now be taxed
Yeah.
on your imports and exports.
Okay.
And Rupert's Land is like, no,
No.
that's not how this works.
And he's like, anyway.
I just love the naivete of it.
Yeah.
He's like, great, okay, everything's going super according to plan.
Yeah.
Let's start taxing people.
Let's do it.
And people are just the minute there's one thing
Yeah.
that he has to deal with outside of his echo chamber,
Bubble, yeah.
they're like, no.
You're dumb.
So the council decided they would not force the officers to pay duties. But once the jail was built, they had a trump card that they could play, and they would ensure his cooperation.
Okay.
So they're like, all right, but just wait until we build this jail.
Then we're
And
gonna have
then
some real fun.
You're going to be paying so much taxes, it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
So this officer wasn't the only one who questioned the legitimacy of this new republic. And I have to say, this is where we meet the hero of the story, the true hero of the story. There's a cobbler who lives
Okay. You
in-
mentioned him
in
at
the
the top.
Republic. Yep.
At the top of the show.
His name is McPherson. We don't know his first name, but maybe
Okay.
McPherson is his first name.
Or maybe it's Mac Ferson.
Potentially.
Maybe.
So Mac.
Mac. What's Mac up to?
He lived in High Bluff, which is just a few kilometers east of Portage, and he began confronting Spence and other members of the government over their taxation policies.
Sure.
So he's just like, why?
Yeah.
So he's raising significant questions. The main one being why.
Okay. Which is a good question to start with, Spence.
What and how dare you?
Yeah.
Just,
How dare you?
He said that the money he was preparing in taxation was not going toward the jail the government had promised, but instead was being used to buy beer and whiskey for the sole use of the government. So
Okay.
McPherson's like,
I
which
know
is-
Spence. Yeah.
Yes, no.
Okay.
He's like, I know what you're doing with my tax money. You're just buying whiskey. You're
Yeah.
not building the jail that me, McPherson, would like there to be in the town.
Right.
And so,
And Spence is like, well, maybe.
and this appears to have been true. McPherson made his suspicions known throughout Portage. So now he's spreading, he's going around. He's like, you know what's actually happening
Go Matt.
down at the government house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this enraged Spence, as he's prone to do.
He's having
as
a
we've
temper
seen-
tantrum, yeah.
Yes, as we have seen from his former
Yeah.
outings.
Yeah.
And he saw only one solution. And that was to just arrest McPherson and try him for treason.
What?
So he's
This
like-
guy's crazy.
He's like, yeah. So, sorry, McPherson, you're under arrest. The jail's not finished,
Yeah.
but we will be trying you for treason.
Yeah.
Treason usually serves with capital punishment, so
So like a little public hanging,
you never know. You never know.
Little
it's,
show.
it's exciting for a town of 400
little
people.
show for the people. Bring
Little
the kids out. Have a picnic. You know.
Little hanging on the prairie.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So Spence's constables, which is again a strong word for cronies, William Hudson and Henry Anderson were dispatched to arrest McPherson. However, it seems that the two constables had been indulging in some whiskey provided for them by the government,
Yes.
and they were so loud on their way to arrest McPherson that he heard them coming
Oh no.
and what they were coming to do. So he's like, "Oh, William's coming. Oh, and Henry's coming too. It's to arrest me. Oh, for treason. Oh,
I was
okay,
like, and
okay.
we're gonna arrest him so good.
You
so
have no
good.
idea.
You have no idea how good we're gonna arrest him.
This whiskey's great.
He's gonna be the most arrested.
This is an arrested development.
Okay. Enough of that. What's going on?
So Hudson, he enters McPherson's home
Sure.
while Anderson watched the door.
Okay.
For who? I don't know. Again, it's like a town of 400 people.
There's no one
and he's
coming.
he's out of town.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know who's coming. Anyways. So Hudson found McPherson sitting in his home, cleaning his revolver. Just casual.
The shoemaker.
Yeah. McPherson resisted the effort to place him in custody, which I assume was a very simple conversation of,
Yeah.
I have a gun. So, Anderson,
And he was like, Anderson, let's go.
yeah, Anderson heard the scuffle. He hears
Yeah.
inside. And so he runs in to help out Hudson, but somehow McPherson eludes them both. And now he's just like running in the wilderness.
Just running.
So he's just running away from the house.
Yeah, he's like Laura Secord, just running.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take me to Fitzgibbons.
So he takes off with the intent of running to the Assiniboine district border, where there's a real government.
Sure. With his wife just at home, just hanging out.
I don't know if McPherson's married, so
Oh, okay.
who's
Okay.
to say?
The shoemaker's probably alone. You're right.
I don't know. I hope not.
Okay.
He's my favorite character so far,
Okay.
so I hope he has somebody.
All right, let's hear about it.
And so he's going to cross the border into the Assiniboine district to freedom. So that's the mission.
Okay. Freedom.
Hudson and Anderson pursue McPherson on horseback. Not an easy race.
Okay.
And so McPherson sees this horse gaining on him, and so he attempts to evade arrest by running into the deep snow on the plains. He's like, maybe
Because-
the horses can't get through that.
Manitoba, there's lots of snow. We know that to be true.
This is geographically true.
yeah, this
yes.
is all correct.
Yes.
Okay, this all adds up.
But a struggle ensued, and all we know that happened during the struggle is that McPherson's clothes all got torn off. So now we have a naked McPherson running through the woods,
No.
trying to evade these guys on horseback.
He's doing a great job.
Um,
Like fully naked.
fully naked.
That's fun.
He's like throwing in everything
Okay.
for this.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he is eventually apprehended.
I imagine him looking like Belle's dad in Beauty and the Beast and just running through the woods. That's what I imagine this little man looking like. Maurice.
Maurice. So maybe that's his first name.
Maybe.
Maurice McPherson.
That's a good name.
So the drunk constables loaded McPherson onto a small sled, and then they started
they
taking
got
him
him.
back to town. Yeah.
Okay.
So on the ride back down from High Bluff Road, McPherson's neighbors and one of the earliest settlers in the area, so very respected guy, John and Alec McLean, they saw the sleigh containing the three men bearing down on them, heading towards Portage.
They're on like a toboggan.
Or Portage. I keep saying it like
It's okay. Like it's a portage. Like
Yes.
you're, carrying your canoe somewhere.
McPherson jumped out of the sleigh and he ran toward McLean and his son.
Naked.
And, the constables are in hot pursuit. Yes, naked.
Okay.
So. McPherson reached McLean and shouted, "Save me! Save me, McLean!" When the constable tried to wrestle McPherson back into the sleigh, which, is always a sign of a good arrest.
If a man came running at me naked, screaming, "Save me, save me," I would shut the door. Very, no thanks.
But thankfully, McLean didn't.
Okay.
McLean pulled out a 2-inch auger that he had been using to repair a haystack and said, "Stand back or I'll rin the auger through ya."
Okay.
All of these colloquialisms are the doings of the judge in the town, so he's just like, I'm writing it verbatim.
Okay.
So he's basically like, if you don't let him go, I'll stab you with an auger.
Nice. Okay.
Classic. Seeing the weapon, the constables showed McLean the warrant for McPherson's arrest and explained that the cobbler was a traitor to the Republic of Manitoba, this thing that all of us equally hold dear.
Yeah. This warrant is written on like a napkin, drunkenly, covered in whiskey. They're like, but it's here. Read it.
It's like, I think I have that thing with
It's
me
somewhere.
somewhere. So McLean read the warrant and then inquired when and where the trial was to be. He's like, all right, you got a warrant. When's the trial going to be?
Okay.
He then advised McLean to go with them and assured he advised McPherson to go with them.
Yeah.
And then he assured McPherson that he would be there to make sure justice was appropriately carried out. So
Okay.
McLean's like, I will be your auger lawyer.
Yeah, okay.
It's just like this naked man. He's just like, you don't really know me,
but
I will be your
you
lawyer.
definitely need some help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the crew continued on to Portage. McLean followed after having some supper, apparently, and then brought
Gotta
with
be
him
fueled up.
a Bob Hasty, a Mr. Chapman, we don't know his first name,
Okay.
and then Yankee Johnston.
Yankee Johnston.
That's the gang.
That's okay.
Those are the good guys.
Oh, those are in the story.
Yes.
Okay.
So the trial was being held in Hudson's home, which is always a good sign when one of the people arresting you is then also the courthouse.
In your living room. Yeah.
It's like, it's fine, just come into my living room.
That's my dirty clothes. Just put them on the floor.
Yeah, like home field advantage has a whole new meaning.
Only meaning. Yeah.
At the table sat our guy, President Thomas Spence.
Our guy.
Our guy. After an inquiry, Spence told McLean that the shoemaker had been tried on the charge of treason, or was going to be tried for the charge of treason.
Sure.
McLean answered with a very important point, quote, "But we have no laws. Come out with that, you white sepulture," which means hypocrite.
Okay. Sepulture. I like
sepulture.
that. They should have used that in the spelling bee.
You cannot act as judge and accuser both.
No.
So first of all, we have no laws. But if we have laws, you're doing laws wrong.
You're doing it wrong. Just so you know.
Yeah. So Constable Henderson ordered McLean out of his house. But at first, he refused to budge. Hudson challenged him to a fight, which has been their mode of diplomatic relations.
Yeah.
It's seemingly for years.
Yeah.
And McLean stepped out towards the door. He's like, all right, let's fucking go.
Because you go outside. The definition of taking it outside.
We
that's
have
it.
no laws.
Yeah.
I only acknowledge bare knuckle boxing in the front lawn.
Exactly.
So Hasty saw both constables following McLean. So basically, Hudson's like, yeah, I'll challenge you outside. McLean starts to go. The other two guys are also following.
That's
so
not a fair
Hasty's
fight.
like, that's not fair. This isn't an even fight.
You don't know anything about laws and rules.
Yeah. But Hasty is also like, everyone is going outside, then no one is watching McPherson.
Right.
So Hasty's like grabs McPherson by the collar, and he's telling
he's got clothes on now.
he's like, "Don't sit there like a fool."
Okay, he
is
says,
what he
we're gonna,
tells
we're
them.
gonna fight.
We're fucking running.
Yeah.
No, we're
Oh,
running.
Oh, they're just going for it.
We're gonna get out of here.
Okay, good.
No one's watching. Everyone cares about the fight.
Right.
Pay-per-view, baby.
True.
A brother of Anderson's caught Hasty by the neck and pulled him back, which prompted Hasty, who was a powerful man, to throw Anderson's brother against the table, which shook the table, the lamp, a nearby stove, and Spence. Earthquake.
Detail. That's the detail. The lamp.
At this point, Hasty, Johnston, and Chapman all drew their revolvers and fired into the ceiling. This is country justice.
Who are these people?
They're great. I don't know who they are, but they're great.
God.
They're heroes of early Canada.
It's just like a thing that they do. It's like, oh, revolver, bang, like done.
He's like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
You know?
Yosemite Sam.
Yeah. So, in the blink of an eye, the house was suddenly empty. Everyone fleeing through the nearest exit. Door, window, didn't matter.
Laundry chute.
It's laundry chute.
Yeah.
Spence, who had taken to hiding under the table,
Nice.
was heard to say, quote, "For God's sake, men, don't fire. I have a wife and family." The only time Charlotte is evoked.
The only time we've heard about you.
The next day, as McPherson was walking down the street, one of the constables again tried to arrest him. He was
One
like,
of the
"It's
ones
not
from the night
over."
before?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
hung over. That man doesn't know what he's doing.
I don't know if you're ever hungover when you drink that much whiskey.
When you're
It's
just
a
constantly-
constant state.
It's like John A. McDonald.
Yeah.
Just never sober.
James McBain saw the scuffle and threatened to, quote, "knock the constable's brains out if he dared to repeat the act." So now, you know, like McPherson's got his buddies.
He's got his boy.
It's literally a gang war in this city.
Yeah.
City.
West Side Story. Snaps.
Yes, West Side
Yeah.
Story. The most infamous gang war in American history.
Absolutely.
McPherson wanted to end these shenanigans, and so he confronted Spence, demanding an explanation. He's like, "What the hell, guy?"
Sorry, my mic was making a funny noise. I was dealing with tech issues.
Tech issues.
Okay. I'm good. I'm listening now.
I wasn't saying what the
I
heck to
thought
you.
you were like, what are you doing?
I was saying that McPherson is saying what the heck
He's
to
saying, like,
Spence.
okay, yes,
yes,
alright.
you're Spence.
I'm Spence.
Unfortunately,
in this story.
I apologize.
I was under the table.
So Spence suddenly is now like, I never said that they should arrest you.
I did not say that.
He denies everything. And
That
said,
was that guy up the street. Remember him?
And he's like, the matter's been dropped.
Yeah.
The matter's been dropped. Don't even worry about it. The matter's been dropped.
Yeah.
So in return, for his, the damages, McPherson received a new suit of clothes to replace the ones that had been torn off during the arrest.
Nice.
And the matter was indeed done.
Good.
This incident completely shattered any notion that the Council of Manitoba had any authority.
Right.
And the Republic was effectively finished. But
Yeah.
Spence would not give up.
Zero credibility at this point.
If everything we know, he's not going to go down without a fight.
No.
So Spence had walked to Fort Garry, but casual. You gotta walk to Fort Garry.
Is that like far?
I think so.
Okay.
Lots of
All right.
kilometers.
Okay. Many steps.
That spring, so he could get a blessing from the HBC governor of Fort Garry. So
Okay.
Fort Garry has an HBC governor, and he's just like, listen, I want you to bless the Republic, which is a weird ask.
Not just me.
No.
You can bless me too.
It's
but
just like a guy who has nothing to do with anything being like, can I have your blessing? Can I have your daughter's hand in
Please?
marriage kind of thing?
I'll say please.
But a town.
like I won't beg, but
Yeah. McTavish is like, no, it's entirely illegal.
That's
I'm not
so
going
dumb.
to do that.
Yes, everything this Spence says is just like answered with "that's so dumb."
But again, Spence is not done. He also sent a letter in February of 1868 to London to explain that he had established an independent government. Just to explain. Like, he's not asking for anything, he's like, so listen.
So this is
I
a story
set up-
all about how
I set up an independent government in Manitoba, called Manitoba,
with an H.
with an H.
Yeah.
The Duke of Buckingham, who was the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, replied that it would be that the would-be republic had no power to form a government without references to the Hudson's Bay Company or the Crown, and that the exercise of jurisdiction in criminal cases or levying taxes was illegal.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, you're done. You're done.
You're done.
So we kind of come to the end of our story
Oh, okay.
with,
He was done, for real.
after this final rejection, Spence, after these tumultuous years of his would-be republic, he
Sure.
then had to live through someone actually trying to set up an independent government in Manitoba, Louis Riel.
Yeah,
So he's just watching someone succeed
at
at something that he could never do.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I had to
that must
imagine
have
was
been
hard.
a blow. I didn't realize they were like same time, but
Yeah, literally like 2 years later, Louis Riel's like, independent republic, let's go.
let's do it.
Yeah. But instead, he settled down into a less stressful, gun-free pursuits.
Okay.
He ended up being a legal member of government when he became the clerk of the Manitoba legislature.
Why? Why does the man have any credibility to do that?
I think the moral of the story is that wild guys love government.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the story of the Republic of Manitoba.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
No
That was a
problem.
good one. I'm glad that yes, thank you. I'm glad that we didn't do a minute. I'm glad it was something I think that's fun.
No, well, to close out, would you make this a Heritage Minute?
Yeah.
Who would you cast? Who would you cast as Thomas Spence?
Michael Cera.
Ooh, Michael Cera, that's a good
Michael
one.
Cera Spence. Oh, Eric's gonna be so mad at me. Eric and all his friends are gonna be so mad at me. George from Seinfeld would be the guy who got his clothes ripped off, but I can't remember that actor's name.
Jason Alexander.
That's it, that guy.
Jason Alexander
Yeah.
as I don't know if I feel like you need someone I feel like Jason Alexander is more of a Spence. Just someone who's...
Canadian actors.
Okay, Okay.
You're all quiet.
This is a history podcast, not a
Yeah.
pop culture podcast.
Yeah,
Thank you
I'm
very
sorry.
much.
This isn't about Canadian cinema. You should listen to North and Normal podcast.
Yeah.
I say Lauren Green.
But anyways, thank
Yeah.
you so much to everyone
Yes,
who
thank
came
you.
out / endured us talking while you ate tacos. We really appreciate it.
We're get off the stage.
And thank you to HopYard for letting us stand here and give you a show.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Bye.
Bye.